On stream the other day, I was asked the question about what got me into manga. So today I kind of wanted to cover that in a YouTube video because I need something a bit longer in order to discuss this. And what got me into manga is actually one of the things I hate the most in the world, and that is read the manga anime endings. If you've come across some of these, and I'm sure you have, it's a moment where in an anime it suddenly abruptly stops, and the only way for you to continue getting any more information about the story is to read the manga. A lot of these actually are associated to some really amazing manga. And you'll be surprised, I've given a list today of 8 series that really brought me into manga and just made me realize that I may as well just read the manga if people are going to start just recommending them at the end of an anime when I've been enjoying and rocking these series all along. Some of the manga I'm going to be mentioning today actually have some quite beloved anime connected to it, but they all have one thing in common, and it's that you need to read the manga to actually get either the real ending or the continuance of the story from the anime. One of these actually is one of my favorite of all time, despite it not being the best objectively. These are not in any particular order, but starting at number 8, and this manga, all these mangas are phenomenal, by the way, so they are worth your time. Take it as recommendations at the same time. Number 8 is Kenshin. Kenshin's about to get a new adaptation into anime once again, and the author of it, if you didn't know, is quite a problematic creator with a history of some illegal activities related to child not good things. Let's just say it that way. I won't go further in details to not get this video kind of suppressed, but just so you know, Kenshin had 2 adaptations already. One was a TV series, and the other one was an OVA. The TV series is much beloved, and the OVA is as well, not to mention also live action series. But the TV series ended in a very lackluster way. The final arc was very underwhelming, to say the least, and you didn't get any finality with the relationship between Kenshin and, I'm forgetting, Kaoru? I'm forgetting her name. Maybe Kaoru, I'm not 100% sure. And you don't get any finalization of that, but you do in the manga. You have the complete finishing of the story, and it's actually a really good ending of the manga. The OVA does give you a little bit more closure. It gives you the final arcs of the story, and visually they are phenomenal, though I think they exist in a little beautiful place in my mind that's perfection, but they may not be. It's quite old now. But these series did not originally end, and they gave us a lot of reasons to read the manga, and that's the reason I jumped into it. I used to own all of them. I actually had to donate them when I moved to apartments because I had no place to store them, which makes me very sad. But really, really good manga, and definitely got me into that swords and fantasy world of the Edo and Meiji period in this case, which were really interesting in manga form. The next one is one of my favorite anime/manga of all time, Air Gear. I know, it's a weird choice. This is fundamentally a harem series built on rollerblades. It seems like something that would be nuts, but it is so much fun, guys. I don't know what it is about a character seeking freedom by jumping around and doing crazy tricks on a pair of electric rollerblades, but it's just fun. The only downside is because of where the manga goes in this crazy direction of like almost world conquest level things that is a little over the top, but it is still a great ride and really fun to read, so you should check it out if ever you're interested in something that's a little off the beaten path. The good thing about manga is manga ages a lot better than anime. I still find the anime is great, but the manga definitely hasn't aged because manga's kind of timeless, which is great. The next one is Soul Eater. If you have watched Soul Eater, you got an amazing ride, good characters, an amazing soundtrack, but that ending though, what was that ending? There was so much more to read in the manga. Though the ending is still a little lackluster, it definitely has a far longer breadth of a series and a better ending in my opinion than it does in the anime version. Though, any time you can spend with those characters I think are really worth it. I have heard rummagings about a readaptation of Soul Eater, so I'm hoping it gets that, which would be really cool, because Soul Eater had its own vibe, its own style. But that's a manga you guys should be checking out if you're interested in getting more of the story. The next one is called Tenju Tenge. A lot of you are probably not going to know this if you're part of a younger generation, but this is a martial arts anime that was insanely good. like just like the ecchi moments are not my favorite part of the story, but at the age I watched it, definitely were not a downside. The fights are amazing, very brutal, like beatdowns. We're not talking Baki levels of brutal, but like it's insanely brutal, and the main characters, you get almost nothing with them in the anime because the story, when it's about to pick up into the craziness and most action-packed part of the story, it just ends and it's like, go read the manga. And the manga continues on for chapters and chapters and chapters and chapters after that. So if you're looking for a really good martial arts manga with a lot of beatdowns, some ecchi features, and just some kind of OP characters, definitely check out Tenchu Tenge. It is absolutely worth your time. What a blast to read. Really, really good. The next one is one that's finally getting an adaptation of it this year, but originally it didn't have it, and that's Bleach. So Bleach was an amazing anime. It was a great ride, was fun, we had some amazing arcs, everything with Aizen was brilliant, and then they shoved us Grimjo and... not Grimjo. They shoved us the Bounto arc at the end of the series, and it was just like, what? We just came out of one of the most amazing arcs in anime, and you're giving us this shitty arc. What the hell's going on? And yeah, that's not where it goes in the manga. The manga ends on a much better arc, the one that's getting adapted actually at the end of the year. The fun thing actually is the manga's getting continued right now, even beyond that. So I don't know if they're going to continue adapting it into the anime or not, but I am very excited to have more people jump onto the manga. Maybe they haven't read that arc. There's some amazing fights in it, brilliant new bankais that you've never seen before, and continued stories with Ichigo and the gang. And I mean, like, why wouldn't you want that? But again, these read the manga endings make you want to go read a manga, but once you're in the world of manga, you tend to get more used to it. So when you have a story like Tokyo Revengers, for example, where it's going to be a slow burn, it's going to be stuff happening every episode, but you could read so far ahead by going to the manga. Once you get used to it, you tend to jump to it really easily. And then it begins. Then you go from manga, sometimes to manhwa. Once you go to manhwa and you have the color vibrancy, you don't necessarily want to go back to the black and white as much. It's a rough road. So enjoy anime as long as you can. That's what I will always say in that regard. Going on to the next anime that had an ending that really was completely different in the manga version, and you got so much more out of, is Man Wonderland. If you watched this years ago, it was fun to watch. Tons of blood, tons of gore, action-packed, great setup and story. But Man Wonderland has a very different pathway in the manga, and you should definitely check it out if you haven't. The stories between the main character and the main female protagonist are quite different in the manga, and the ending is also quite different. So check it out. It's also less ambiguous in the manga as well. So check it out if you haven't already. For sure, that anime is very visually stunning, and it's hard to go back to the black and white afterwards, but it's still absolutely a beautiful manga. The next one is one that just ended. It was super popular, and it was continued in the manga. It was a fair bit further, and for some reason they didn't continue to adapt it. I'm sure there may be a second season comes out eventually because it is much beloved, and that's Batum. A story that was like, people get put on an island, there's explosives everywhere, people are trying to kill each other, it's this competition to survive. It was really popular the season it came out, but they never continued it, and the manga continues much further along, and it is really good. So check that out, guys. It is absolutely worth your time. I'm gonna finish with the most legendary of them all, to me at least, and that is Berserk. If you lived in the 90s, like I did back in my day, the first Berserk anime adaptation that was drawn on panels was beautiful. Visually, it was, to my opinion, is still the most beautiful version of Berserk other than the manga. The adaptation was really good visually, and it ended on the beginning of the story, because basically the time of the Band of the Hawk is kind of a prequel, technically, to the story of Berserk. And that makes things a little challenging. Like, the fact that Berserk only is about to start, and you're like, all right, go read this amazing manga, and it is a phenomenal manga. But I don't think everyone wants to jump into that manga after being so visually and emotionally, like, charged from that series. And I can't recommend the following anime series because of their 3D animation really making it a jarring experience. But the manga is beautiful. It is true this year, just this past year, the author passed away before finishing his series. The final chapter does kind of leave a little bow on the end of it, and who knows, it may get further adaptations in the future. Who knows? But if you haven't read the manga of Berserk, it has what in my opinion, I would call one of the greatest villains in all of manga and anime and anything. A lot of people call to Aizen or the villain in Monster as being the toughest out there, but I would say that the villain of Berserk is probably, in my opinion, the greatest villain ever created in all of media. There's just stuff that happens in that is just like, wow, it's something else. But yeah, guys, that is my list. I want to give you guys just a little look at what got me into manga, and it's kind of sad that it is basically a trap, and it succeeded in converting me to the manga world. But these are the things that got me into manga originally. I'll definitely be doing a list in the future about mangas that got me hooked to manga. These are the ones that got me in, but definitely not the ones that got me hooked. There's a series of ones that just got me in different ways. Guys, if you like this type of content, I would love if you would like and subscribe to the channel. Other than that, what got you into manga? What got you into manhwa? I'm curious, what are the entry levels that got you into the medium? I am super curious to find out. Talk to you soon.